So today's video is to provide you some value. I'm making today's video so that I can help you understand this concept of surrender. But in order to understand surrender, you first have to understand the concept of control, right? We are very controlling in our own lives in the sense that we want to be in control of our own destinies. We want to be in control of who we date, who we meet, when we get our job, how we go about living our life. We want to be in control of how we get our happiness and everything that you see in the world. That's the reason why we chase after money. That's the reason why we want the material gain, the houses, the cars, the jets, and all this stuff. That's the reason why we want to be with specific people that have specific physical features. This is all in an attempt to control the way that we get value, the way that we feel about the world around us. And that mostly comes from us feeling like we don't have enough for ourselves. It comes from a place of lack within our own souls, within our own hearts, within our own state of being, right? Predominantly, this comes from traumatic experiences. It doesn't necessarily have to be in your childhood. A traumatic experience that created a void inside of you that now you are trying to fill with all these different things. And the only way you can have these different things is because you think that you have to control and manipulate and do all these different things, so that when you have enough money, or when you have the right guy, the right girl, when you have the right house, when you have the right car, when you have the right job, when you have the right stature in your church, the right when you've fasted enough, or when you've prayed enough, then you feel like that void is being fulfilled. But the funny thing about that is that that void never gets fulfilled with something coming from outside, because everything that we feel like we're lacking is going on within us. There's nothing outside of us that we can give ourselves that is going to fill that void. So we become controlling because we know, we have a knowing within our own minds and hearts that we can't control the environment around us. So we try to force that on by forcing ourselves into relationships because of appearance and not necessarily because of genuinely caring about the person, or being in a certain job position because it makes us feel like we're better than someone else. So then it becomes a whole thing about being special. It becomes about being more special than somebody else. So we start living our life comparing ourselves to different people, and all of that competition and that desire to fill this void inside of us makes us very controlling, right? But here's the truth. We all have our own way of seeing the world, our own way of understanding, and our own belief systems, right? And that's subjective. And as long as it is subjective, it is true for you. Just like I have my own subjective opinions that are true for me, right? But there are certain things. There is an intelligence, a reality that applies to all of us as a whole. And those are general truths, right? For instance, like, you may have a personal belief or a personal truth that you are a fish and you don't need to breathe air like oxygen, and you can pretty much live underwater. As long as you are a human being designed the way other human beings are designed, there's no way you'll be able to live underwater. No matter how much you've convinced yourself that you are a fish, it's impossible, because you're not designed to be a fish, right? That's one of those examples of a truth that is common or objective, that it applies to all people, right? No matter how much you believe or what you are, Hindu, white, black, whatever race you have, no matter how much money or how poor you are, the sun will rise and the sun will shine on everyone the exact same way. There are not people here that will experience the sun better than other people. Like, the sun doesn't say, okay, I'm gonna shine on you, I want shine on you, I want shine on you. No, it just shines on all people. So no matter how you feel about the sun, you can believe that the sun doesn't exist. You can convince yourself that the sun doesn't exist. But when you step outside, it still shines. No matter what you believe, the sun will continue to rise and set, and it will continue to shine. That's a common objective truth, right? In the same way, I believe that there is an intelligence, a common objective intelligence that is at work in existence in reality. That intelligence is the reason why the cells in your body are dividing without you being aware of it. That intelligence is the reason why the clouds are forming. Is the reason why the wind, is moving in the way that it moves. Is the reason why the planet is spinning. Is the reason why there are things that are out of your control, things that you are not aware of, that are functioning beyond you, beyond your awareness, and is continuously happening out of your control. That is a common truth, right? It's like the flow of a river. You cannot control the flow of a river. No matter how much you believe no matter what you convince yourself that you are a magician, a prophet, whatever it is, water will always run downstream. You can never go and turn the water and make it flow upstream, right? So no matter how you try to control it by putting rocks in a way or creating a dam or trying to use the wind, water will always flow in the direction of what this intelligence, this presence, and this truth has intended for it to flow, right? And when you surrender to that flow, when you actually accept it, which is what surrender really is. Surrender is accepting that flow that you can control, accepting the things that are outside of your control. When you actually accept that certain things are meant to happen a certain way, and you surrender to the flow of those things start to work in your favor, right? You stop chasing things and things start to come to you because you have aligned. That's what you call aligning yourself. When people say you need to align yourself with God, you need to align yourself with your goals, you need to align yourself with your desire, you need to align yourself with who you want to be in order to find the man or the woman that you are destined for. That alignment is simply you accepting that whatever it is that is to come for you is outside of your control. And now you must place yourself in the same, in a direction, almost align yourself with the flow that will take you to whatever it is that you are destined to have, right? And when you accept that those things are outside of your control, you kind of surrender. So you align yourself. And now it's no longer, you don't even have to use your own efforts to go to get to what you need to get to. It's like in a river. If you're trying to swim upstream and you're using all this effort to fight the current, eventually you're going to get tired and that doesn't feel good. It's the same thing in life. When you're fighting the current of life, you're gonna get frustrated, you're gonna get disappointed, you're gonna get angry, you're gonna feel like less, you're going to feel like you're not worth anything. You're going to feel like nothing is working for you, that nothing is working out in your life, that you're not good enough because you're fighting the current of life. But here's the key. The surrender allows you now to flow with life. Because the way life is designed, certain things are designed to flow. Like the current of a river. It goes downstream. It's designed to go downstream. So when you actually surrender to the current, the river takes you where it's meant to lead you. Other people in Christianity, this is called giving it up to God, right? In other religions, they call it surrender. Mostly Eastern religions call it surrender. Islam, Judaism, and Christianity have similar beliefs. So that is basically giving it up to God, surrendering to God. That God is that great flow, that river. God is the flow that makes everything work in the world, in this reality. That is if you believe in God, right? So the surrender is basically you giving yourself to this flow and letting things happen for you. Instead of you trying to make things happen for yourself, you let things happen for you. But how do you get to this point? You can only get to this point once you have overcome your own inadequacies, your own wounds, the wounds that force you, that make you feel like you have to control everything. You have to go within yourself and actually examine your conscience, examine your state of being, and find the things that have hurt you, that now you are trying to avoid by controlling your environment. And sometimes in trying to control your environment, you try to control the flow of life, the flow of your life. Because you're not just existing for your own life, you're connected to all of us. All humans are connected, and every human life is dependent on another person's life. Based on what someone does, it affects someone all the way across the planet. So we are all connected. So when you're trying to control things, you are not surrendering to the flow of the humanity. Because humanity is moving forward together. Despite each of us having individual lives, our individual lives are also connected to the humanity. And that creates the flow. That becomes the river, or God. Now God would include everything else. Plants, insects, and everything that exists, stars and galaxies, and the whole universe. But let's only focus on humanity. So when you try to control things, you're fighting that flow. And in doing so, things are going to become harder for you, because if what you're trying to control is beyond you, is out of your control, then no matter how hard you try, you can't control it. It's like you trying to control the flow of a river by swimming upstream. It's impossible. You are the one that's going to get tired, right? But I understand that sometimes in our lives, we have to get to the point where we get so tired that we surrender. But you don't have to get to that point. But that's the whole concept of surrendering. Surrendering is basically putting yourself in the flow of life so that things start happening for you. All the greats, all the people that make the most money, all the people that have succeeded to find enlightenment and wisdom, they understood this. They understood that they are, at the end of the day, they are humans, and there's only so much that they can control. And they surrender whatever that is outside of their control, and they have found peace. So surrender will lead you to peace. But in order to surrender, you have to relinquish control. But in order to realize that you're controlling things, you have to recognize that there is a void in you that's forcing you to want to control things, to fill that void. And the truth is that if you actually figure out how to resolve that void, then you don't have to control things, and you can just go straight to surrender, and things will start pouring into your life. Whatever it is that you are destined to have will find you, because you are no longer fighting the flow and you are walking with the flow. So I'm hoping that this video helped you understand what surrender is and why we should all start surrendering in our lives, so that we can start getting the lives that we think we deserve.